We are here with Rhonda Gentile-Colon, president of Hopeful Tales Animal Rescue in Joliet, Illinois. How are you doing today, Rhonda?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. We're excited to be doing this video. So we are at the rescue, Hopeful Tales Animal Rescue, doing a Q&A video today about Hopeful Tales and Rhonda's journey at the helm of everything over the past decade. Are you ready to jump into some questions?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. To kick things off, first question, please tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, who you were before founding and becoming president of Hopeful Tales. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, before I decided to open up my own rescue, I am a mom of 4 boys. I've always had a passion for animals. I wanted to be a vet, but unfortunately I was led onto different paths. So I had the opportunity with a group of other founders to create something special, which we created Hopeful Tales Animal Rescue.
That's wonderful. And can you speak to a little bit about the inspiration and motivation for specifically founding Hopeful Tales?
Yeah, the inspiration was, believe it or not, when we started over 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, I did help out with another rescue, and I never realized how much of a need there was to have more rescues and to have more places for the abandoned animals to go to. It's not really talked about, at least when I was brought into the rescue world. So when I started with another rescue, I was with them for almost a year, and I seen how overwhelmed that rescue was, and the lack of volunteering, and the lack of staffing, and the burnout ratio on it. So I kept on thinking, how can I make a difference? And how to make a difference in our community, and to share how needed rescue is, and that not enough people know what rescue truly is about. So a group of me and my friends decided, hey, let's give this a try. And when we gave it a try, we ended up starting it in November of 2013. And it started off in my kitchen with 14 puppies. A little safe. My family wasn't on board yet, but I did win them over eventually.
That's great, Rhonda. Thank you for sharing the beginnings of Hopeful Tales. So Hopeful Tales, as I understand, focuses its efforts on saving dogs. Can you talk about the rescue's mission a bit?
Sure. The reason why, again, we started our mission in rescue is to help these animals that are left abandoned or, tossed to the side, or unfortunately people just don't have the funds or the money to take care of their animals anymore. So when we started our mission, we wanted to be able to also help out the community and get the community involved. So in our mission statement, we like to say we like to strive on helping animals, helping our community by offering like low-cost shot clinics, education, getting the community more involved with rescue so they can understand what rescue is. Because believe it or not, a lot of people don't know what the mission is to rescue. They just know, wow, you're doing a great thing, you're helping these animals. But there's so much more to rescue than just helping out the animals. And that is our mission. So I love that we have a mission statement, but at the same time, I feel that mission statement changes. It changes each year, and we grow upon that. That's just our platform.
Absolutely. And how many dogs has Hopeful Tales saved throughout the years, over the past decade? Because you're celebrating your 10-year anniversary in November, which is very exciting. So yes, how many lives have you saved over the past decade?
We have rescued over 7,000.
That's incredible.
Animals. And there are some cats thrown in there.
That's incredible. Oh, there are some cats.
There are a few, but
okay.
Yeah, unfortunately a lot of our volunteers are allergic, so
okay.
We kind of focus just on dogs now.
How wonderful. So after all of these years, how does Hopeful Tales sustain itself and continue to save dogs in need, especially since there's no government funding, provided or received by the rescue? How do you guys sustain yourselves?
So how do we sustain ourselves? People always ask about the price of adoptions. Believe it or not, only maybe 20% of adoption fees actually go towards the cost of running a building, because we are building based. We're not foster based anymore. So we count on fundraising, we count on sponsorships, we count on our community, we count on local donations. So we're always looking for ways to bring in more funds and to get people more educated and more involved in our community and in our rescue. It's a struggle. When the economy does poorly, rescues do poorly. When the economy does better, adoptions are up. It helps out a lot more. We do apply for grants, but a lot of rescues are out there are competing for the same grants. We do get private donors sometimes. We do have some monthly donators that donate each month, which is a great help. But the biggest thing is we kind of count on our fan base, our community, to help us get through each month. But this year has really been a struggle. We are really struggling to make it to our 10-year. So we're trying to come up with creative ways to fundraise and get people involved and help raise the much needed funds.
Absolutely. And on a related note, what are some of the biggest challenges, even just over this past year, if you can share some, that the rescue has been facing?
The rescue's been facing, one is staffing. Staffing's down. We used to have a staffing of 27. We are actually down to a staffing of 6 right now. And those poor girls work really hard every day, day in, day out. So a total of 6 staff members for 14 shifts each week. So staffing's an issue. Adoptions are down by over 50%, which is a huge hurdle for rescues. Because if dogs are not getting adopted, it's hard for us to pull more. Mm-hmm. We can't pull more from kill shelters if we don't have the kennel space. The economy plays factors because of our, monthly sponsors, our monthly donators, our people that come to our fundraising event. If they're struggling to put food on the table, how are we going to ask them to come to a fundraising event? So that has been the biggest struggle. We bounced back from COVID. We made it through COVID. But this is harder than making it through COVID. There was a lot of grants for COVID, but unfortunately we fall in such a gray area that rescues really struggles to secure any of that financial freedom that would have helped us get through that crisis. So since we're still trying to play catch up, it's just been a really bad struggle. And unfortunately, a lot of rescues already closed their doors, but our goal is to keep our doors open as long as we can.
Absolutely. And that's part of why we're working so hard on improving the marketing for the rescue to get the Hopeful Tales Animal Rescue name out there, to hopefully increase awareness and grow our supporter base to be able to save even more dogs.
Correct.
So pivoting just a bit, Hopeful Tales recently began offering alumni boarding. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that's been going?
Yes, alumni boarding. We did a little mock run in the beginning of spring, and we realized that our past adopters and our past dogs that were here at the rescue were still stressed, but not as much as we would expect in a different location. So we wanted to offer it strictly to our alumni because we know their dogs. We know them. We helped get them into that perfect home. And we were also thinking, how else can we help our adopters? So the nice thing is we get to see our alumni and spend time with them and care for them like we originally did before they went into their forever homes. And at the same time, offer our clients a service and knowing that their animal's well cared for. So we trying to come up with a way to make it affordable, because sometimes it's really hard to go on vacation. You save all through the year to go on vacation, then another added cost and the added security of knowing your dog is safe. So we decided to come up with alumni boarding since we had to close down our old mama section. So since we closed down that section, we've done some work to it, and there are private kennels. We have a total of 6 back there, and then we have 2 smaller kennels. The kennels that we have back there are 4 foot wide and are 8 foot long, and they're private walls, which is nice. So we do offer alumni boarding for $35 a day, and knowing the fact that that money will be put back into a rescue, I hope the alumni and everybody else sees how hard we are trying to keep our doors open.
Yeah, that's such a great benefit for alumni and their families, especially for that latter reason that you just mentioned. The money is going right back into the rescue that originally saved that dog's life.
Yes.
So I think it's just a wonderful offering all around. And if you're interested in alumni boarding, we do have a tab dedicated to that, a page on our website. So just go to hopefultalesanimalrescue.org and you will see the alumni boarding tab up there that you can click into to fill out a form and for more information. All right, let's pivot a bit to the broader state of rescue today.
Okay.
Sort of a two-part question. First, why are rescues and shelters so overcrowded nowadays, and what are some of the ways that you think people can help?
Okay, so the first question, why are rescues so overcrowded? Again, with us, economy is a big factor of ours. So if the economy is doing poorly, we're almost considered a luxury item. So adoptions will be down. So therefore that adds added stress because the dogs are staying with us longer. And if they stay with us longer, it's harder for us to pull more. The other big issue with rescue is, unfortunately, where we pull from, a lot of the animals are not fixed. So spay and neuter programs are so needed, and affordable spay and neuter programs. Unfortunately, to fix the animal now, it's so expensive and people just can't afford it. So therefore that adds to the population. And since it adds to the population, it adds the extra stress onto the rescues and onto the pounds that we pull from. So it's just not strictly rescue, it's all communities. How can we fix this problem? We could fix this problem by helping food pantries, low-cost vaccine clinics, spay and neuter programs, getting the word out there. If a family's struggling just to put food on the table for them, how can the community help them keep their animal? Because truthfully, people keeping their animals and getting dogs spayed and neutered, that's gonna help rescue. That's gonna help the pound. That's gonna help put these animals in a better predicament where they need to be. And that's what we need from the community. We wanna be able to help you too, but in order to do that, we have to further education in our schools. Get the younger kids involved. Let them understand the responsibility of owning an animal, the understanding why it's important to fix an animal. And on top of that, just not the understanding how much of an expense it is to own an animal. So therefore, I really feel that we have to promote education. Again, promote spay and neuter programs, affordable spay and neuter programs. Help the seniors keep their animals in their home because that's the only thing they have. So let's work on programs like that. You know, help out a neighbor. If you know your neighbor's struggling to feed their kids or their animals, reach out to local rescues because they're willing to help. We do get plenty of donations on food and we don't want it to go to waste. So if we could help a family in need to help keep their animal in their house, that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. I think those are all amazing suggestions for how people in the community can help. And it really does take a village. It takes a community when you think about rescue, and it has a trickle-down effect, as you were just describing, Rhonda. And it starts a lot of the times with education and getting younger people involved at an early age too, learning responsible pet ownership and advocating for rescues in their community, and everybody helping each other out at the end of the day. So I think that's great. All right, next question. What advice would you give to current pet owners to help them ensure a long, healthy, and happy life for their animals, particularly dog owners?
My recommendation is anytime you get a new animal in your home, whether it's a cat, a dog, a lizard, they're an investment. So you always want the best outcome on your investment. So I recommend bonding. 3 weeks before you introduce them to new people, let them get comfortable with you. That's a major change for them too. Training. To understand a dog and for a dog to be able to understand you is training. Get the family involved in it because it is a family possession. So therefore, you've got to put the time in. That's the hardest thing. Like some of the returns we see are simple fixes. But the hard thing is either the family was overwhelmed or they were not educated or didn't do training. And training is very important with animals nowadays. They don't speak English, they don't speak French, they don't speak Spanish. We have to teach that to them. And how are you gonna know how to teach your animal if you don't go to a trainer and have the trainer explain to you how to communicate properly with your dog? So sometimes, I know life gets busy, but at the same time, that is an investment and you're going to be a lot happier with that dog or any animal that you get if you put that time and energy into the animal. And then when you have that bond, you're going to be like, we work together, we achieved this together. Because so many of these animals come in broken. They just need time to heal. Once they heal, they are beyond eager to show your gratification to you. They are so excited when you come home. Or if they chew up something of yours, it's just because it was either raining outside and they had less stimulation. Enrichment is huge in a dog's life. Just like kids. Kids are trapped inside on a rainy day, they're gonna drive you crazy. So will a dog. So you give kids activities. Give your dog activity. There's puzzles, there's busy bones, there's Kongs that you could stuff. Go on Pinterest, you can make your own stuff. There's so many things that you could be doing with your animal that will pull off some of that anxiety and some of that stress. And sometimes it's just a puppy being a puppy. You know, they chew things. Give them more options. Just because one toy they don't like, don't mean there's not another one. So just really have that perspective on their point of view. And I really think that'll help you and your family gravitate and be more of a partnership with your dog instead of a challenge. And everybody needs to be on board with it. Get the kids involved. Too many times we let them not do it. Get them involved. Let them be proud.
So at the other end of the spectrum, what advice would you give to someone who's never adopted a dog before, perhaps never even had a dog in their life growing up, but is interested in potentially exploring adoption?
My suggestion is, hey, we let you take that car out for a free test drive. That's called fostering. Come and foster. You could make a difference by just fostering one animal once a year. That's an animal that's getting out of a kill shelter. That's an animal that just needs time to distress. And two, the animal will show you if you have the time for that animal. Fostering could be a 1 week commitment, a 2 week, a 3 week, couple months. A lot of places and a lot of rescues work with you on your flexibility. Like we look for weekend fosters too. When we have a foster going on vacation, they'll be like, hey, I'm out of town this week. Can someone take Sophia for 2 days? I'll be back on Monday. So to me, the best way to find out if you're ready to adopt a dog is really fostering, because it gives you all the advantages. The rescues provide a crate for you, dog toys. They'll provide food bowls, food. So that way you see what goes into a dog, and at the same time you made a difference. And if it doesn't work out, then that's fine. You tried it, then you realize it's not my part of, or it's not my part. It's not a time for me to go ahead and adopt a dog at this time. But you could stay active as a foster, and if not, then hey, you tried it and you realize this is not what I need in my life right now. I really don't have the time. Because unfortunately, too many times we hear that people need to give up their animals because they don't have the time for them anymore. It's the same thing here. If they're sitting in a kennel, they're sitting in a kennel. Our staff's twice a week here, or 2 times a day here. So since they're sitting in a kennel, they're sitting in a kennel for 10 hours at a time. So again, it's okay for a dog to be in a crate, and it's okay for them to understand that you have to go to work. Everybody works, it's all right. But if you're unsure about adoption, try fostering. I swear by it. It's a great way to try it out, and you'll know if you're ready for that commitment at that time.
So a little bit earlier, we talked about Hopeful Tales' 10-year anniversary coming up in November. When you reflect on the past decade, what are you most proud of?
Wow, 10 years. That's a lot. I think what I'm most proud of, because my goal was to make it to 5, and I made it to 5. Now that I'm going on 10, my goal is to make it through just each year. And my favorite part about rescue is grooming these young ladies and young gentlemen that come through our doors and help these animals, because they're not just helping the animals are helping them. And I love being a mentor to them, because unfortunately you don't see a lot of mentoring anymore. And putting the investment into our youth is so important nowadays. Everything is social media. But you know, the kids that come and the adults that work here, they work hard every single day. They work day in, day out. They feel so much emotion and they care so much. So it's nice to see that. And a lot of the people that come and work at rescues, they just are earning for the sense of involvement and the sense of acceptance. And that's the best thing because they're looking for it too, and so are the animals. So they have a lot to offer. So in the 10 years I've been doing this, besides being able to work with so many kill shelters and bring their numbers down and go down and see how bad it is in certain areas, I think the most important to me and what I've taken from rescue is you're stronger in numbers, you're stronger with a voice, and the biggest thing is we're all doing our best to help out in any way we can. So that's what rescue has truly taught me. So if an animal's not going to give up, I don't have a right to give up. And I tell my staff all the time, today's a tough day, but you know what? There's tomorrow. We'll get through it. We have more lives to save. Wipe your tears off, save them for another day, because we got to get back to what we're doing. So that's what I'm most proud of, is just watching the youth grow and turn into these amazing young adults. I've had staff that come through, one's a nurse, one's a PA, one's in school for vets, the other one's almost graduated from being a vet. I have a CPA. There's so many young adults that came through here that are doing amazing things in life, and they thank the rescue for being a safe haven for them. So rescue is just more than helping the animals. It's helping these kids understand and get through tough times, and they can actually relate with the animals. So that's what I'm proud of.
That's so wonderful. I'll ask you to reflect again, but this time if you can recall a story or two that you feel reinforces the why behind all of the hard work and dedication that's been put in over the past decade at Hopeful Tales.
Sure, there's one story that comes to mind. One of the best stories that I like. I took a group of my staff and we went down to Hazard, Kentucky. And when we went down there, they got to see how life is way different than it is up here. On top of the overpopulation of animals, but the lack of opportunities and just in general, how community strong they are down there. You know, down in Kentucky, they may not have a lot all the time, but let me tell you, they are community strong. And I wanted the girls to see that. So we went down to their local Kentucky Regional River Animal Control to help them out. And we built brand new puppy kennels for them. And they were ecstatic to have us down there, to have the help that they couldn't believe that we drove from Illinois all the way down to Kentucky to help them. Remind you, this small little animal control area houses about 250 dogs, day in, day out, and they run with a staff of 2. So I wanted the girls to see their inspiration, and in the same time, the girls get inspiration to show them that we can help. So we went down there, we built these kennels, and the girls were laughing because they didn't know how to use a drill, they didn't know how to put up trim, they didn't know how to use a saw. So we taught them all that, and they made fun out of it. They made so much fun to watch them laugh and get along. And they're so different with their personalities and their interests, but they were all working together as a team. And then once we got the kennels done and built, which was a 2-day process, I offered to take them, let's go back to the hotel, relax before we head out. No, let's go back and help. They went back, they cleaned the laundry room up for them, they organized, they washed up all their dishes for them, they went around handing out treats to dogs. You know, they're like, what else can we do? What else can we do? And I'm like, ladies, we have to go. They didn't want to leave. They just wanted to keep on helping. So to see them, to be able to go to a whole different state and help people that they've never even met before, and to help animals the way they did, just was truly an inspiration. It's one of my favorite stories, just one. Another one we had this puppy that came in. It was hairless. And one of my girls was crying because they're like, oh my God, how can someone do this to it? But the best story part of it, she nurtured that dog. That dog was petrified of everybody. She nurtured it. She got it to play with toys. She got to watch all of its fur grow back. She was able to get to walk on a leash, have confidence. So as she worked with this dog and was building up its confidence and teaching it how to walk on a leash and how to trust and how to love, they grew together. She was a very quiet worker, very shy, very timid. But once she's seen that dog come out of its shadow and seen the difference and how she made the difference and stuck with it and put the work and the time and changed this dog's life, I get to see stories like that a lot here. And sometimes we look at it as a tragedy. I don't look at it as a tragedy. I look at these girls growing and prospering, and I'm so proud of the work they do. So that's what rescue is truly about. We could go on for days with stories, because that is, we are an emotional roller coaster, best winning Netflix series you'll ever see, because it's never ending and they don't give up. So if they don't give up, we can't give up.
That would be amazing to get our own Netflix series.
Oh, that would be.
But I think we'll absolutely have to feature some more of those stories in future videos. So our channel is at the very beginning, baby stages. You're seeing this on YouTube more than likely. So please hit that subscribe button to our channel and let's help drive that number up, and share our page with family and friends. Anyone you know who cares about dogs or is into animal rescue themselves, actively involved in the community, please share our page and keep up with what we do. We'd appreciate it. All right, let's pivot a bit, Rhonda, to the future. So what do you want the next 10 years to look like? What is your vision?
Okay, so the next 10 years, one, I'd like for my doors still to be open. So that's a challenge every day. But what I would like to see in 10 years is for the community to get more involved in rescue, to completely understand what volunteering is for a rescue, and understanding how hard kennel work is. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that, when you work in a kennel atmosphere or in rescue, that you're just coming in, you get to play with puppies. No, puppies make a huge mess. They think it's, you get to walk them and have fun with them. That's just tidbits of it. But in order for a rescue to be successful, the community has to be behind them. And we count on that. Without your guys' likes and your shares and doing this YouTube, which I'm very uncomfortable about talking to with people, but in order for us to grow, we have to educate you guys. We can't assume that you know what we're about. We have to tell you. We have to tell you it's hard work. There's a burnout threshold. Most rescues are grateful to make it to 10 years, which I'm extremely grateful. But I want to be able to pass this on to someone. I want to continue the legacy. But ultimately in 10 years, if we make it to our 20 years, what I'd like to see is we're not working so hard to do rescue. That we've done enough education. We've done enough promoting of spaying and neutering. We've done enough low-cost vaccines. We microchipped all of our animals. We put investment into our animals. We've done training with them. We value what they give us and how we could give back to them. That's my goal for continue rescue for 10 more years, because something has to change. If it doesn't change, you're going to see less and less rescue. And if there are less and less rescues out there, the overpopulation of our animals are going to continue to grow. So I hate to say, I can't even predict if I'm going to be around for 10 years. I hope I am. That's my goal. And I'll do whatever I can to achieve that goal. But the hardest part is we need support. We really do. We need the community. We need more grants out there for rescues. We need more financial aid out there for rescues, because it's not just a rescue problem. It's a universe problem. The overpopulation of animals in every single state, countries, is growing by vast numbers when it should be shrinking. And without investing in this, we're going to end up in another, pandemic or more issues. And who's going to suffer? The animals are going to suffer, and they're going to suffer at our hands. So we have to make a difference. We got, like I said, education, spay and neuter clinics, vaccines, helping your community, keeping animals in a home, doing training with them, helping your local rescues, helping even your local pounds. By adding more to the problem, it's not going to help them. keeping animals in the house, that's what's going to help. So how do we do that? Again, the government has to be able to help too, because it's not just a state issue, it's a government issue too. So I want to be around for 10 years. We just need more help. And we're not very good about asking all the time for it.
And that was actually a perfect transition to talk about how people can help us and support us. So if people want to learn more about Hopeful Tales Animal Rescue and keep up with our work, how can they do so?
Okay, so what's a great way to get involved in any rescue? Start off small. Start off by asking, can I help with an adoption event? Because without adoption events, the dogs are not getting out and they're not being seen. We need volunteers for adoption events. That's really hard. Everybody wants to come in and walk the dog, but the hardest problem is not all dogs could be walked by just anybody. Again, it's a transition period while they're here. It's not meant to be a permanent home for them. So volunteering, but volunteering at events. The events are crucial. Fundraising. You want to help an animal rescue, but you don't know how? Do a fundraiser for them. They barely have enough volunteers, let alone enough volunteers to host a fundraiser. There's different fundraisers you could do. There's a lot of 5K virtual walks. You could run one of those for your rescue. Team up with someone. They'll give you a contact person. They just can't always be 100% involved in that fundraiser because they're already stretched thin by doing adoption events, making sure phone calls are being done or applications are being done or helping the staff or running dogs to the vet. That's another way you could help. But we need consistency. It's too hard to train a volunteer, especially when it has to be a consistent thing. So we started asking our volunteers to commit to 8 hours a week. And that's just because there's so much for you to learn. But if you don't have that time, you get asked to be a part of their enrichment program. Enrichment program is Girl Scouts always want to come in. How can we help? Sometimes we don't have the manpower to have you come in, but you could stop and pick up an enrichment tote and have your Girl Scouts fill the enrichment toys for us. And then pick them up, rewash them, and refill them again. That helps the dogs so much. You know, they need that. Things like that, that's where we really need the help. Ask your company, do you do sponsorship? Do you do employee match? Become a monthly donor instead of buying that $8 coffee every single day that ends up being $40 a week. Dedicate, I'm skipping one coffee a week, and that $20 you're going to donate to a rescue, because that's the biggest thing. $20 goes further than what you think. And if we had 10 people donating $20, that's $200. Liking our TikTok videos, liking our YouTube, following us on Instagram, getting that social media up for us where we could develop different platforms to help bring in funds. So we're not constantly asking you, hey, can you spare $5 to help out this poor animal that has no fur? We're trying to come up with different ways. If you're creative like that, let us know. But again, we need someone to run that. We don't have the manpower to be pulled away to help with 20 fundraisers, even though we appreciate it. And we are thankful for any way people could help. Time is something we don't have. We're already stretched thin on time. So that's where you get help. Be invested in your rescue. Because if you're invested in your rescue, they're going to be invested back into you.
And speaking of donations, we do have an Amazon wish list, which is up on our website.
Yes.
And sometimes we promote it on social media as well. I know we recently promoted it on Facebook and have it as a pinned post. But we also have PayPal. And I think we're listed under Hopeful Tales Animal Rescue, correct?
Correct.
So you can either visit our website, hopefultalesanimalrescue.org, and you'll see the donate button, the donate tab. You can click that and donate to our PayPal via that link. That would be so amazing. But we also have, like we mentioned, the Amazon wish list, always adding items to that, and very willing to accept anything that our generous supporters would be willing to send us. All right, and you already covered social media, Rhonda, so I don't have to say much about that. But yes, we are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So please be sure to follow us on all those channels. We are listed under Hopeful Tales Animal Rescue on each one, and your support is so greatly appreciated. Any closing thoughts?
This is my thing. It doesn't cost you anything to share. Share, share, share. Like our post. Share it with someone else. That's how we grow. That's one way you could start helping. You don't have to be actively involved, but just sharing the stories of our dogs and sharing our page. That helps every single day, and I don't think people realize that. Like, we want to be over 20,000 followers on our Facebook page if it wasn't for you guys. Because you guys liked, you shared, you recommended, you know, things like that. That helps. Give yourself some credit for that. Everything's social media nowadays. So if everything's social media, help us out that way. You want to TikTok about us? TikTok about us. The more likes we could get helps bring in income. So again, we appreciate any part you could do. And thank you for listening to me babble and being so generous with me, being shy with the camera, because I'm a nervous wreck right now, but I appreciate you guys. And I wanted to share a little bit about what directors do. We always don't like to be in the limelight because we're too busy in the back to get other things done. But I guess sometimes we have to make our appearance. So this is me making my appearance.
And we thank you so much, Rhonda, for sharing all of that wonderful information and education and insights with us today. We will continue to do more videos like this and others showing some behind the scenes of our rescue and our dogs. And currently the best way that you can see that is through our social media. So please, please, please follow us, subscribe, and like. All of that is fantastic. And we thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.